Yeah, and this would also immediately explain why, for example, SSRIs have the side effects that they do, common ones being gut issues.
Oh yeah, nausea and vomiting are, wouldn't say they're universal, but they're not only are they extremely common in the first couple of weeks, but they're such a problem that a lot of resources have been devoted within pharma to try to hack some way of inhit kind of like the two holy grails of SSRI research over the decades that have never been obtained are, can we make these things work right away instead of taking 2 weeks to kick in, and can we make them not cause a couple weeks of nausea and vomiting before we get to the therapeutic effect? Because if you start with the adverse effect for 2 weeks before it goes into the benefit, it's not a good look.
Yeah, yeah.
But they've never been able to do that because pharma, and this goes back to the inflammation thing. They've never been able to come up with a drug that reduces inflammation in a way that doesn't totally completely harm you. And sometimes the trade-off is well worth it, right? Like if you've got severe Crohn's disease or severe ulcerative colitis or something like that, you may need one of these heavy duty inflammation blockers, but it's not that it doesn't have a pretty significant trade-off. It's that the trade-off just happens to be worth it in that case. But I mean, providing that you have not found a way to resolve the issues without the drug. But it's just pharma does not have. So this is the problem. The problem is that pharma's tools are primarily biochemical and they are not primarily physiological. So you just have layers of everything where inside the cell you have, one enzyme acts on one substrate, converts into something else. This is like a biochemical pathway. Then you have the organization of the cell itself, and you have these regulators and stuff, and you get into molecular biology. You have the cell, you have cellular biology. When you start, putting together a tissue and then have another tissue somewhere else, and you've got all this crosstalk and communication, you get like each one of these things is like an instrument inside a symphony, and the physiology is what produces the phenotype. Like it's the symphony orchestra of all these parts working together that produce something like mental health or depression, or that produce something like inflammation or healthy tissue function. And so the problem winds up being that a lot of the stuff that you want to happen is actually at the physiological level. And nutrients are interesting because nutrients are as a molecule working at a biochemical level, but you're putting raw materials. When you eat nutrients, you're putting raw materials into your body, which has a physiology that knows how to selectively take that nutrient up from the food, discard what it doesn't want, distribute it into many different places in different proportions, and put it into one part of a cell and not another, because we have, our entire evolution has wired us to be able to do that complex work with that. All pharma drugs are xenobiotics. Therefore, they are all unfamiliar to the body. Therefore, the body is primarily trying to get rid of them, not to do anything with them.